disgraceful.
Public told.
Two more contestants attempt to win a smart speaker in 10 to the top at 10:30. How well will you do today? And the most outrageous things you've ever worn. This is Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app, your smart speaker, and 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 10 o'clock. This is Catherine Cracknell. The Metropolitan Police says 4 of the 64 people the force arrested during the coronation on Saturday have now been charged. The head of the anti-monarchy group Republic told the BBC it was unacceptable to restrict people's right to protest just to allow the smooth running of the celebrations. Graham Smith was among those arrested. The Met says its actions were proportionate, but Mr Smith disagrees.
That is not an excuse to arrest people and detain them for 16 hours because some people want to enjoy a party. That is a disgraceful suggestion. And quite frankly, this is a political issue and therefore, obviously, it's going to face protest. You have to be able to protest. And if some people don't like the fact that there are protesters there, then quite frankly, they have to put up with it.
The Prime Minister of the Caribbean nation of St Kitts and Nevis says the country will begin a public consultation about whether to remove King Charles as their head of state. Dr Terence Drew said his country was not totally free as long as the King remained its head of state. BBC analysis has found just over 11,000 community chemists remain in England, the lowest level since 2015. 160 pharmacies have closed over the past 2 years. Industry representatives are calling for more funding. The government says it's supporting pharmacies to provide a range of services. US media is reporting a gunman who shot dead 8 people at a shopping centre in Texas on Saturday was a suspected far-right sympathiser. They say he was wearing an emblem with the initials RWDS, believed to stand for Right-Wing Death Squad. The man was shot dead by police at the scene in Dallas. Nathan Johnson, who's a Democratic Texas state senator, said something had to change when it came to gun control legislation.
What's not working is the approach that this state has taken in the past, which is to give more people more access to more guns in more places more of the time. We're not talking about taking guns away from people, but clearly arming ourselves to the hilt is not going to help us escape from gun violence.
Police in Texas are also investigating after a man crashed his car into a group of people waiting at a bus stop near a migrant centre close to the Mexican border. 7 people were killed. People across the UK are being encouraged to volunteer at one of the more than 50,000 charity events marking the final day of coronation celebrations. The Big Help Out aims to replenish the number of charity volunteers, which has been depleted since the pandemic. Brendan Cox is the co-founder of the Together Coalition, which is involved in organising the Big Help Out. He said there were many benefits to the scheme.
We often talk a lot about the community benefit in terms of the glue that it provides to communities, but also the skills that it gives you, the enjoyment that it gives you, those social connections that it gives you. That's why I think the King and the Queen got behind the Big Help Out, because they do want to encourage and support that idea of trying to build a wider service nation, and volunteering is absolutely at the core of that.
That's the BBC News at 3 minutes past 10.
Listen live on the BBC Sounds app.